Okay, welcome to the first, probably beta episode of Pear in the Pod. My name is Guy, and I am a Pear in the podcast. So, for our first episode, we have Simeon Ramey on. Simeon is a content creator as well. We met on Facebook. I decided to ask him to come on, have a conversation, talk, and see what happens from there. So, Simeon, we talked a little bit beforehand. So I think it takes a certain type of. First of all, how you doing today? Let me not
Doing well.
be rude. My mom did teach me some manners.
Doing
Uh,
well. Thanks for
all right,
asking.
absolutely, thank you. Um, so we talked a little bit earlier, and I think it takes, especially nowadays, it takes a certain kind of person to want to make content. Everybody enjoys consuming content, but not everybody likes making or being part of content. So I
Right.
want to know for you, why do you have a desire to create and be a part of online content?
That's a great question. For me, I took a lot of influence early on from some other creators. I watch Gary Vee quite a bit. I watch
Oh,
some of my
Gary
other
V.
guys that are in a similar lane. I don't want to do exactly what they do, but I take a lot of influence from them because they've kind of showed me the importance of personal branding. And I think
Okay.
that personal branding is huge no matter what you do. Whether you're somebody who likes to be on camera and yap like myself, or
Hmm.
you're somebody who likes to do the faceless content, whatever it is that you're working on, it's super important to put that personal brand out there. It to some capacity. That could be social media, that could be a radio show, that could be whatever you have. I just encourage people to build that personal brand because you're going to be able to show people who you are and what you can do at a very high volume, which a lot of people look at that and they're kind of shaky about it when I bring that up because they think, oh, I don't want to get famous. I'm not here to get famous or anything. And it's not
Exactly.
about that,
Yes.
right? It's not necessarily about that for me. It's really more about um, just being able to do what I love to do at a higher volume and putting it out there to provide value for someone else. So that's the way that I kind of look at it.
Now, you've mentioned before that you're doing you do fitness stuff as well. Actually, one of the reasons why it took so long for us to talk is because you're so busy with your fitness business.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I've talked to a lot of people in fitness as well, and fitness is actually a very big industry where content is important. So tell me, how does your content help your fitness business, and do you feel that creating content is needed if you're in any type of the fitness industry?
It's a great question. So I want to preface by saying too that I'm more on the marketing side,
Okay.
and I know it gets got kind of confusing with my page. So I'm an affiliate of like one of the brands that I work with. It happens to be a fitness brand because I do encourage people to live an active, healthy lifestyle. But I
Okay.
am on the marketing aspect of that. So I do some affiliate marketing for them. But I do find it important to again just put yourself out there, no matter if you're fitness niche, marketing, sales. I know people that like I put it in a video previously. Like I know a guy that blew up on TikTok live who was playing metal music on a sitar. Like it really
On a
it really
what?
doesn't
On a what?
on a sit on a sitar, like a it's like a Indian instrument,
Really?
similar to, yeah, similar to a guitar, but he was playing metal music on live like that, and it just blew up. So it's like no matter what you do or what you've mastered, just throw it out there, and it's like
Exactly.
it yeah, and it's it's been quite a process. I'm still working out on my personal pages because I do so many things. Like I have the marketing side, the affiliate side, where I work with a bunch of different brands, how to best present that. So that's something that I'm always working to, uh, day after day to improve the message. And, it's just all really about
Now you said
consistency.
you said you do marketing.
Yes.
Did you kind of teach yourself marketing? Did you go to the school of
Yes.
hard knocks, as somebody once told me?
I was very self taught. I did go to school. I finished with a master's degree, but I was also very much self taught. I think that learning doesn't stop after you go to college. Like you go to college, they're going to teach you the bare bones, like theory, or they're going to teach you, um, very 101 level
They teach you the
marketing
fundamentals. They basically teach you the
fundament
fundamentals.
basically fundamentals of what goes into it. So the learning doesn't stop when you get out of college, and it doesn't stop just in the classes when you are in
Hmm.
college. It continues. You read books on people that you can align with, and you understand their message. Um, and you kind of find yourself in the self-taught process. So yes, while I was in college, I was also
So
self-taught.
something I find interesting is that in the beginning of YouTube and a lot of these and a lot of content now even more so, but in the beginning you would notice it was kind of like the wild wild west. It was like all the people who didn't have the schooling would do YouTube and Instagram and all these other sites, and the people who did have the schooling would go the more traditional movie route, TV show route, Hollywood
Right.
route.
Hmm.
And it goes to show you how just because you have schooling, in marketing and video editing and advertising, that doesn't mean that you can make good content. Good content is about more than just knowing how to make it's more than just knowing how to make it. You have to know what you're going to make.
That's right.
Uh, and that's something I've actually struggled with. I used to think that, oh, if you put content out there, people are going to watch it. And yeah, you might have a couple of views, but the algorithm nowadays is so complex, and it depends so much on interaction and
That's true.
clicks. I forgot there's another name they actually use for it on YouTube. It's interaction and something else. Well, views and interaction. That's what it is. Views and interactions. It depends
Right.
so much on views and interaction. Where if you don't have if you don't have something that captures somebody as great as what your video may be, or as horrible as your video may be, if they don't click on it, it won't go anywhere. So
Right.
so it's fun to make content, and I do enjoy making content. But sometimes when you make content and you get no views, or making content and spending 4 hours to make something to only get 10 views can sometimes be discouraging. So, what do you feel is a way to keep your morale up and understand that it can take a long time sometimes to break through, or like you said, go viral, right? Sometimes it
Right.
takes years for somebody to go viral. Sometimes somebody's second or third video goes viral. So
That's right.
what keeps you up, and what keeps you encouraged to keep on doing more?
That's a great question, and it's a question that I do get very often. And this is me personally talking.
Hmm.
I want to preface that, like, people do content for different reasons. You find joy in it for different reasons. You put your stuff out there for different reasons. Me personally, I don't look for motivation, and I know that sounds kind of backwards. And I really look for just to be consistent with it, because I am that type of person
Okay.
that once I get into something, I'm not going to stop. And I do have,
Okay.
people relying on me that I would like to show them that I'm going to be consistent. I have, friends and family um, that I look up to, that really just continue to drive me, and it's for a greater purpose than just pure motivation, if that makes sense. It's just, you find your why, and that's that's something you hear a lot, and it's very, it's cliche, but it's cliche
Well,
because it's true.
it's not only that; it's just that I think Simon Sinek.
Hmm.
That's one of the first people who started talking about find your why.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen his videos. He says some amazing things. He says some absolutely amazing things. Now it goes back to
He's
what you
very
said
on point.
earlier, right? I think a little bit off air, but how about you watch Gary Vee and and all these other people, and I mean, yeah, some of these guys do have PhDs and all this other stuff. I mean, Gary Vee just had a business. Um, but you're right. Like, find your why and find your purpose. And sometimes somebody's purpose is just for fun, right? Some of us have a hard ass job where we just want to come home, play a game or make a video and just put it up, and it doesn't matter if nobody sees it or if everybody sees it, great. But yeah, content could be fun. Um, like you said, the content could be fun, and find your why you want to make that content.
Right.
Um, now going to Simon, that we were just talking about. Do
Hmm.
you read any motivational books, or do you read? Well, personally, I hate reading. I actually do audiobooks. But do you actually do any books, or do you use anything to how do you learn best?
Yeah, it's a great question. I do like to read. I like to move more towards what I've learned about myself is I like to move towards away from the self help aspect. If there's a book that sounds too motivational and there's not enough informational, I move away from that now. And I used to be one of those that that really dived into the self help and the motivation. And what I found was it's really just a dopamine hit because if you're just reading it to feel good and get motivated and never do anything with it, like that's the
Hmm.
same reason like you have that type of content when you scroll on your phone. It's like somebody puts out a motivational speech and people keep scrolling and keep feeding into the content and becoming consumers of the content and never do
Yes,
anything with it. So that's the reason I like to move more towards like one of my personal favorite authors is um oh, I'm blanking. Peterson. I can't. I'm blanking on his
Jordan. Jordan.
Jordan Peterson. Thank you. Yeah. So Jordan Peterson is somebody that I find to be very informational. He just
Ridiculously
uh,
smart.
right.
Ridiculously smart.
Yeah. Really smart. Just a lot of substance in what he writes. So that's kind of what I look for now.
Um, you know who David Goggins is? I'm guessing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So he says it's motivation. No, it's dedication, not motivation.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Motivation gets you gets you up. Dedication keeps you awake and keeps you hungry and keeps you
I like that.
doing more and more and more. And I don't know if I'm contradicting what I said earlier. Yeah, it does suck when when we do these when we make this content that doesn't get views, and you know I don't I don't know if anybody's ever going to hear this, uh, but or if anybody besides a couple people are ever going to hear this. But making it is fun, right? Making it, staying dedicated to it, and staying consistent with it, and just keep on and keep on and keep on. Eventually, you'll break through, and some one day our success might be 10,000 views, and our success might be 10 million views. But it's all about staying dedicated.
Right.
So yeah, David Goggins, he's what what
That's a great
what a
quote.
man.
One thing I will add to that too is
Uh-huh.
is how I'm able to continue to go and stay as consistent as I've been is I understand that the process is the outcome. So
Yes.
the so in the process of like, oh, I have 2 views today. Oh, I got 3 views tomorrow. I got 5 views the next day. Like
Yeah.
that's that's the outcome you're looking for. It's not necessarily I'm going to blow up when that does happen
Hmm.
inevitably because I'm just going to stay in the game longer than everybody else. Then great, but it's in the incremental growth and
I see what
incremental
you're saying.
improvement that
Hmm.
that you'll find the outcome and you'll
and,
find the
and
happiness.
getting better with every post, right? What
Right,
can I do on my next post? Is it the tag? Is it the thumbnail? Is it a little bit of editing? Is it a little bit of this? Is it what I do before I make the content? So
right.
yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right with that. It's interesting you talk about that. Lately I've been playing a lot more video games than I did recently, or than I did
Hmm.
before. And what I noticed is I've been playing some games where every time I play the game, it kind of like restarts. So what are those called? Roguelites.
Okay.
Roguelites. So basically,
Yeah.
what it is you get to a certain point, and then it restarts, and the goal is to get to that point again with a higher score, or so you're playing to the same point over and over, and the purpose is to get to a higher score or to make a better character. And what I notice is every time I take a little bit of time to plan everything out a little bit, I do a lot better. When I just jump in the game and do whatever, it comes out crappy, right? So figuring out
Right.
how to be a little bit better each time.
Yep.
Um, so now you know what, to move away from content.
Hmm.
Talk about talk about some of the movies. Now I'm a big movie guy and a big movie and
Same.
TV show guy. So talk about some of the movies you enjoy watching and some of the movies that you like.
Uh, really, really great question. I do. I'm all over the place with movies. I'm a movie head, so I kind of have different areas for, um, just based on how I'm feeling that day. Obviously, the greats like Goodwill Hunting, the classic stuff
Okay.
like that. Something with, again, that substance is what I'm looking for the most part. But then also, if I'm trying to like just watch something that's fun, I'm a huge Marvel fan as well. So uh,
you,
so
you know,
like all
you
the
know let me ask you, because this is something I've noticed. Have you
Mhm.
noticed that ever since you started editing videos, you pick apart movies a lot more?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
I've noticed that so
Absolutely.
much. I'm like, oh, that's a cutscene. Oh,
Hmm.
that's a voiceover. Oh, that's this. That's that. And ever since I
Yeah.
started editing and I started noticing like, well, how to do that stuff or how to transition from one to another, or sometimes a long shot, right? I think
Hmm.
it's John Wick. John Wick has this long shot, and I'm like, holy crap, they did all that in one take.
Yep.
And if you messed up in the middle of the shot, you got to start it all over. If you mess up at the end of the shot, you got to start it all over. So doing
Yep.
everything in one shot, like I started appreciating that type of stuff, especially with
It's
martial
tough.
arts movies.
Hmm.
I like martial arts movies, especially with martial arts movies. When I see everything is in one take, I'm like, that's a lot more impressive. But yeah, but
Yeah.
I definitely picked movies apart a lot more ever since I started editing. I'm not a good editor, but ever since I started editing, I started recognizing where people do cuts and
You
voiceovers.
understand it a little bit more, and that's a
Oh
good thing.
yeah.
It's part of the process. And another example of that came to mind when you brought up that scene was Bad Boys. There was a scene where um, Will Smith is like scanning the room with the gun, but he's also the cameraman in that scene. So he's got a big camera mounted, and they showed how they filmed it. And again, one cut through the whole scene where he's flipping the camera to his face to kind of get those close up shots with the pistol, and then he flips it back to look like the camera is like panning to
Hmm.
scan the room
Hmm.
like video game style filming.
Yeah.
And it was unreal. Like the way they shot this scene in one take was unreal. So it goes to show the creativity that goes into filmmaking as well.
Absolutely. And it's what I've noticed is that sometimes, and this might be me, I'm a very analytical person. What I've noticed is that sometimes I enjoy a movie or a show less when I start noticing that they have to do more cuts, or they do, or they do more of this or more of that. Because it's like, I mean, I understand, there's a budget, there's a time limit, there's final edits by the company and the production and all that. But sometimes, I watch some of these shows. Sometimes I watch shows from the '90s. I can't think of. I think Hercules. I don't know if you remember Hercules, the legendary journey of Hercules back in the day. And
Yeah.
that show was very low budget, and you see
Right.
so much of what they do. And I mean, for its time, it was probably great. But you compare with it now, or even some modern shows where you're like, oh, they cut here and then they spliced this into that, or when they do a scene where they shoot it from the back of somebody's head, right, and the person's talking but you can't see their face, and you're like, oh well, there was probably a conflict or something, and they don't want to bring that person in, or a scheduling conflict or something like that. I have a friend in Hollywood who does tell me that sometimes when you see a shot from the back of somebody's head and you can't see their face, it's because sometimes there's a scheduling conflict or they decided to rewrite something,
Right.
and they couldn't
Wow.
bring that person in. But yeah, sometimes I've noticed that like I enjoy a show less because I notice so many cuts and so many edits and so many voiceovers and so much of this and so much of that. But it's still enjoyable. It's just I enjoy it sometimes, or I criticize it a little bit more. Um,
Right.
I'm a weird person. I have a spreadsheet of everything I watch, and I
I like
write.
that.
I write like what I like and what I dislike about the show, and sometimes I'll be like too many edits or too many cuts or
Right.
why couldn't they do this or and
Hmm.
it's interesting to see that.
Yeah, that's that's a good, that's a sign of an organized person, which is part of, to not to circle back, but to part of being successful as well is just like you're, even something as little as analyzing a movie, like you're
Oh yeah,
writing things down. That's a good sign.
yeah. Over analytical, over
Hmm.
analyzing can sometimes be a very good thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Other times, not so much.
and not other times not so much. I say this.
Hmm.
I mean this is kind of public. Most people know this, but I am military,
Hmm.
and I remember my drill sergeant told me when I first started in the military. He said, "Stop thinking." Right? He was like, "Just stop thinking. Just do it." So there are moments where, and then there are times where when I went up in the ranks, where I would sit down and I break stuff apart and I would show it to my leadership and I'd be like, "Hey, I broke this apart, and this and this and this and this and this and this and this," and they'll be like, "Oh, that's great, good job, thank you for this." So yeah, there are some times where you just gotta. Sometimes you can overanalyze it, and sometimes you can't. Going back to fitness, I know you said you do more marketing and affiliation, but I mean,
Hmm.
you're not fat, so do you also work out? You also
I
work
do.
out a
Yes.
bit, or
Yes.
you
That's
try to.
that's why it works so well, is because it goes right along with my personal brand. So that's why I've built the personal brand, because again, I have my foot dipped into a number of different things that I enjoy and a number of different things that I think are necessary for other people. So I'm affiliated with the brand, the Fit Traveler, and I also work out as well. Obviously, I wouldn't feel comfortable
Yeah,
selling something that I don't that I don't use myself.
yeah.
So, I'm affiliated with that.
What kind of workouts do you do?
And right now, I'm waiting to get back to the weight training, but right now I've been using this thing. I'm not affiliated in any way,
But
but
no,
I've been
what
using
I
this
mean is
tool.
do you do high intensity? Do you do more cardio?
Yeah,
Do
so
you
this tool that I use is it's more cardio, more stabilization. It's like what's the term for it? Suspension training. So I don't know if you've heard
suspension training?
yes,
Interesting.
heard of the TRX. So basically,
Oh, wait,
um,
TRX? Oh my god, I remember
yeah,
TRX.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember TRX.
So that's the suspension training. So what, it's two straps. You can do any workout with the two straps using your body
Yes,
weight.
yes, yes.
Um, I think it's a very useful tool when you're someone who's on the go like myself. I can set it up anywhere and just get to work, get a quick workout in, and
Do you feel a
yeah.
difference? I mean, sometimes I use it for stretching at the gym that I go to. I use it
Hmm.
for stretching. I don't. I mean, I don't. Do you feel the difference? Like it? Do you feel?
Yes.
Because what's it called? Would it be? It's kind of like calisthenics, right? Because
Yes.
you're not really using weight. You're using your own weight, and you're
You're
going
using your
against.
body weight.
Yeah, you're using your own weight, and you're going against gravity in a way, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Um,
So
Go ahead.
I would say I do feel an immense difference between that and weight training, which is why I want to get
Yes.
back to the
Yeah.
weight training, because it still has a purpose.
Hmm.
If you want to put on size or you want to put on muscle or just get stronger, you need to lift heavy. Um, but the reason the TRX is so effective is because it's good for high volume cardio, uh, stability, like stability, muscle stability. So like any workout that you do is incorporating that muscle group plus your abs. Like you're gonna feel it in your
Exactly.
core with
Exactly.
everything
Yes.
that you do. So
Yes.
so it does have its purpose. So does weight training.
Hmm.
Um, and it's good to supplement using one or the other. Like you said, it's also a really great tool just for stretching. So uh, yeah, I definitely feel a difference.
Now, weight training.
Hmm.
Do you do? I do something that I mean, I didn't coin the term. I just call it this because I definitely don't do powerlifting, but I also don't do like strength building. So I kind of do a
Hmm.
mixture, which I call power building, which is not really a focus on one. I've noticed that when it comes to powerlifting, I like powerlifting, um, but powerlifting is very doing the same stuff over and over and over and over and over. And that kind of drives me crazy. And then strength building is all about doing different things over and over and over and over and over. So I kind of do a combination of both. Is there a certain weight training program you enjoy, or do you just kind of look at what you want to work at for the week or for the month, and you kind of focus on certain things at a time?
Um, that's a really great question. So I think that I started. Well, I want to preface by saying I started as an athlete. So there are certain
Oh, really? What
programs.
sports?
Yeah. So I was a basketball player, and then I moved on to be a basketball coach for about 7 or 8 years before I ever got into
Oh,
marketing. So a
how
lot of the
tall are
stuff.
you? How tall are you?
Uh, I'm only 5'9", but I got
Okay,
booted.
okay. So there's hope for all the short kings out there.
Yes, yes, there is. Just work hard enough. You got to be the hardest worker in the gym if you're the shortest player. That's all.
All right,
um,
all right. So all right,
but
so you started out with sports. So how does that affect your
yes,
lifting?
so a lot of the stuff that I do might be lower weight, more explosive movements because
Okay,
I want the result that I'm looking for is, yeah, I want to build strength, but more so than that, my cardio is important and my overall health is important to just stay in the game long term. And that's something that I learned while I was a basketball athlete is if you want to stay in the game long term and you want to outlast people, uh, lifting heavy and not working on your mobility is a is a good recipe to end to end your career very
yes,
quickly.
yes.
So that's my personal goal, and I
So
want
do
to
you do a
also
lot
add.
of so it wouldn't be squats, it'd be the opposite. I forgot what it was called. I have seen it before. Do you do a lot of those workouts where you're basically like jumping, you're more jumping up than squatting down? Or do you also like do you do box jumps or stuff like that? Or do you
I
also
can. I will also, and I was gonna add. I do have what's called spina bifida, so it's a neurological disorder that affects the way that I move a little bit, and I, I'm not able to maybe jump as high or move laterally as quickly. So there are ways that I've found to substitute. So like maybe just doing lunges and
okay.
weightless lunges or squats, or like you said, I can still deadlift, um, and a lot of core based work was really important for me because I was somebody who struggled
Okay.
with the lateral movement and again the just vertical. Um, the way that I found to supplement that and be stronger than a lot of people when I was playing basketball was to just work on my core. So that's the basis for a lot of what I do.
Hmm.
Hence why I use the TRX and some of the other tools, and that I just find that aspect to be very
Now
important.
you said you have what is this spina bifida?
Spina bifida, yeah,
Okay,
neurological
yeah,
disorder. It
yeah.
happens at birth. It's basically, partially I'm partially paralyzed from the waist down, and it it it,
Really?
it yeah. So
How does how is traveling?
uh, pretty pretty easy. Like it doesn't affect my day to day as much as people might think. It does. There are certain complications where like it's very apparent in the way that I walk for one,
Okay.
um, and also there are flare ups where certain muscle groups will get sore and things like that sometimes, but it's not like something that is unbearable when you do keep yourself in shape. uh, and that's so it's not terrible. It's just something that I've kind of learned and grew
Okay.
to learn how to work with.
And the coaching that you did in for basketball, was that in school? Was it like did you
Mhm.
do like high school training, or excuse me, coaching, or was it more like city and team training and coaching?
So I was with Merrimack for a year, Merrimack College for 1 year with the women's basketball team. I also did a lot of skill development work with some collegiate level athletes and all the way through down to grade school. So that's kind of how I was so focused on coaching at the time, and it looked really great because I'm working with some of the greatest athletes out in my region, which was, a blessing, and I'm very fortunate to be able to say that. But um, from an outsider's perspective, things look great when basically internally I'm struggling with, like, I'm the financial aspect, which I never want the financial aspect of anything to drive me, which is why I made the lateral move. But I was working with some guys, some upper echelon players, men and women, in the region. So really blessed for the time that I spent in basketball. But I kind of just, I made that tough
Do
decision.
do you miss it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I find peace in just being able to still use it to work out. I still find it to be the best way for me to get cardio in. And
What about the coaching aspect of it?
oh yeah, for sure. The way that I've kind of come to terms with it in my life, that I made the decision to leave, was that I still have that coaching element on the marketing side to a certain degree. I don't want to
I
ever
see
become
what
a
you're
coach or sell a
I see what
course,
you're saying. I see
but
what you're
I'm still
saying.
able to communicate with people to a very similar effect when I post online. So
I see
I
what you're
still
saying.
have that same
Yeah.
purpose,
hmm
and
Yeah,
that's
because it does take it takes a, I mean, again, not say a certain type of person, but I think somebody who enjoys coaching and who enjoys teaching, who enjoys mentoring, right?
right.
You need that in some aspect of your
Hmm.
life, right?
Absolutely.
So, if you don't have it in basketball, as you were saying, but you still have it in your job, or you still have it in maybe your personal life, or you have it in your content, it still scratches that itch that
Right.
that that you need to have. And that's I'm not gonna say it takes a special type of person, but to have the patience. Look, I've tried to teach martial arts to little kids. I used to be part of a martial arts school,
Oh, that's awesome.
and my instructor gave me, I don't want to say the opportunity, but basically he's like, hey, I want you to teach the kids class. I was a little bit younger. I was kind of advanced, in my school for my age. So he's like, I want you to teach the kids class. And let me tell you, teaching a 5-year-old a martial arts move, then moving over to their friend, teaching them the same move, and then moving back to them and asking them to do it, and them tell you that they don't even know what you're talking about, or they
Yeah.
forgot the move. It's so trying, and you just have to, you just stay calm and you go over
Hmm.
it again. But it feels good, and I've noticed that, like, every part of my life, every phase of my life, every stage of my life, I've always wanted to either help somebody or coach somebody or mentor somebody
Absolutely.
or lead somebody. I think that's a desire that some of us have, and it makes us feel good, and it makes us feel good to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And what I'll add to that too is it takes a lot of mental fortitude,
Oh
like you
yeah,
mentioned, to
yes,
to be able
yes,
to coach. Um,
yes, yes.
and where that comes from is all in the preparation. Alex Hermosi, who's another content creator that I like to listen to, he made the point that you'd be surprised what 15 minutes of preparation would give you. So
Yes, absolutely.
just being organized and
Mm-hmm.
understanding where, the type of person that you're communicating with and what the message is that you're trying to convey,
Yep.
is super important. And that's kind of where that mental fortitude comes into play. And that's something that I find to be huge. And I still do when I'm creating content. I ramble quite a bit, but really honing in on my message is something that I'm learning right now, that is super important, and just staying consistent with that.
Yeah. Yeah, you talk about honing in. Um I think we're around the same age. But do you remember back in the day where you could just put up any type of content and it would, like, the algorithm wouldn't care, and you could just put up
Yeah.
whatever you wanted, and now it's like you said, right? You have to kind of
Saturation.
focus exactly. Not only that, but
Hmm.
it's your audience, right? So if you
Right.
put up basketball, right? If you put up and there have been a couple people who've been able to make a switch, but if you put up basketball content for a year and then all of a sudden one day you're like, oh, I'm going to completely change, and now I'm going to talk about um, computers or
Right.
tech or some other interests you have. Heck, maybe even cars. I mean, there are some athletes that know nothing about cars and don't care about cars.
Hmm.
Um, it messes up the algorithm. So you have to kind of, focus. I've even been told by a couple of people where, look, if you just want to make any type of content, make a video that just is for everything. And then, or excuse me, make a channel that's just for everything. And then make one channel that kind of focuses on the main purpose of what you want to do or only has one topic. And that's actually something I struggle with because I'm of the belief where I just want to create content and just put it out there. Just put out as much content as I can. And
Yep.
that can be harmful. That can be more harmful than good. Um
Definitely can. And I'm a high volume person as well.
mhm.
But I do find when it comes to one page that even like there's times, and I can name guys like higher up wellness, Alex Hormozy, like I mentioned before. Like I could ring off all the people that I take influence from, but um, there's times where they mention what's called top of funnel content, where they'll just put out something that is entertaining, that has nothing to do with what they sell or
Yes.
nothing to do with anything, which still works, but it works a very small amount of, a small amount of time. Sorry,
Mhm.
I'm getting some feedback.
Well,
Um,
that
but
okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
sorry about that. I was just getting some feedback on the mic,
Okay.
but yeah, so it works a very small amount of time, but you can still put anything out there that you're interested in,
Mhm.
as long as there's some either loose relation or the purpose is intended for viewership. So it still has an intended purpose. It's just outside of what you would normally put out there. So like for example, I just put out a video, um, or my best performing video, which I talk about quite frequently, did 65,000 views on YouTube. And it was just a lip syncing video that was like very loosely related to my niche in marketing, but not really. It was just a reference to the show Jimmy Neutron. Um,
Oh, good show. Good show.
yeah, and I was lip syncing on that video, and it kind of just I timed it. It was a trending sound. I timed that post well. I was early to that trend, and it ended up going, and it had nothing to do with
With your other
anything
stuff.
that I with any of my other stuff. But what its purpose is to bring in the volume so that people
Can see
might
the other stuff.
click on my page and see some of the other stuff. So it still has a purpose. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And um, that's
Have you
what
ever
I kind
seen
of.
you ever seen that guy who he puts like food in a jar, then he puts vodka or alcohol inside of it, closes it up, and lets it sit for a while.
Think so. I think so. Yeah.
So, his first videos were not about alcohol at all. I mean, they were about something
Hmm.
completely different, right? And then he changed. He was able to change from one topic to another.
Right.
Something I used to watch a lot, and I've stopped, is I used to be really big into reselling, right? And
Yep.
one of my favorite content creators about in reselling, he used to have a very big Minecraft channel, and what he did is he slowly started making YouTube videos, and he didn't delete his Minecraft videos, he kind of hid them. So because if you
Okay.
delete them, you lose all the views and you lose all the analytics of it. But if you
Right.
just hide them, you keep all of it, and you just, so he slowly transitioned from one to another. But you have to have the fan base, and you have to understand that sometimes it takes time to transition. And like you said, right,
Hmm.
that thing that you jumped on, it could have completely failed, it could have completely succeeded, right? People are like, oh, this is a person who's just doing this for fun, he doesn't actually usually do this, or this isn't the topic that he usually talks about. So,
Right.
but yeah, it's about knowing timing when you're going to do stuff. I remember when YouTube
Yeah.
first started coming out. Remember when people used to do videos of like different names, like black names and Hispanic names and all that stuff.
Yes. Yes. I remember that. Yeah.
um, I remember not too long ago, people were doing the tricky video where you would get in the line, you would get a group of people in the line and play that song Tricky, and then people go to the left or to the
Yep.
right, right? And during
Little trends,
COVID,
you know.
little trends.
Yeah.
And if you hop on every trend, you might get some views, but you're not going to get subscribers and fans. Whereas if you time it and you know which ones to hop on, or you can
Oh,
take
sorry. I
that
think I
trend
lost.
and take it to your content,
Okay.
take it to your content, that could also be good. So how would you is there anything lately that you've done where you've taken a current trend or a current hot topic and you've made it relevant to your content and to your channel?
Absolutely, I do it all the time. You know, and to your point, if you hop on every trend, you know, um, you know, I do find that to be very, very shaky because there's really no substance. So there needs to be an element of substance for long term reach.
Yes.
Um, but I do frequently use trending sound, whether it's trending sounds. Like I'll go to creator search insights on TikTok sometimes and create a video out of what's hot today and just figure out a way to twist it towards something that I talk about. I've had a number of different skits that are either lip sync videos or they're transitions or whatever style of video that I can find that loosely connects to um, the message that I share. I do it really frequently, but that's not the only type of content that I like to put out. I like to put out some sort of like conversion content as well, obviously, where it's like you're either converting a mindset of like,
Hmm.
hey, have you ever thought about something this way? Or if I have something to sell, then I'll maybe like less than 20% of the time throw that out there as well. So it's like it's a mix. It's a good healthy mix of a different style of content, but it's that top of funnel like the skits and that's the type of stuff that make it fun and you're just kind of experimenting to see what works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Um, basketball. Basketball used to be one
Mm.
of my favorite sports. Well, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, it still is one of my favorite sports, but I used to watch it. I mean, weekly back in the day.
Yeah.
What basketball era did you grow up in, or did you like watching the most?
I grew up in the early 2000s was really when I you know my earliest memories with Tracy McGrady and you know my
Okay.
personal favorite player Kevin Garnett them.
Okay.
So a lot of those. So I personally missed most of the Michael Jordan era, other
Yeah.
than I watched
Yeah.
him play with the Wizards.
Oh, yeah.
um,
Okay. You miss Prime
so
Jordan.
yeah,
You miss Prime. You know, a player that doesn't get spoken about a lot, but I really enjoyed watching was Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller. Yep, great
I
shooter.
yeah. Somebody told me that until Curry, he was like he was considered one of the best shooters of all time. But
Oh yeah,
Curry has just blown him out of the water. I mean, Curry's a
him and
completely different level.
him and Ray Allen is in the mix too as one of those guys, and like
Ray
just those
Allen.
those
Ray
styles.
Allen. I can't think of Ray Allen. I'm thinking of Allen Iverson, but Ray Allen.
Ray, yeah, Ray Allen was he broke Reggie Miller's record. He played for the Boston Celtics for a little bit, or yeah, for a little bit, and then
Ray Allen. I can't put a name
one of
to
the
him.
one
Or
of
I
the
can't put
big
a
three with the
face.
Celtics.
When was he? When was he? Ray Allen. 1975. He's widely considered one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time. The name
Yeah,
sounds familiar, but I just couldn't remember him.
yeah. So he was one of the big three with the Boston Celtics, and you know that championship run in 2008. Um, he
I think I
played for
just
the
lost
Bucks, I
you.
think it was early in his career. Uh,
Yeah, I
no,
think I
but we'll
think
just have
he yeah, Ray Allen. So I think he started. So there was a period of time where I wasn't really big. Well, so this is what happened, right? There was a time, and I'm probably going to get so much hate if anybody ever watches this. There was a time where I hated Michael Jordan because the Miami Heat would get to the East Conference semifinals every year, and well, I think it was like 3 years in a row. They got to the Eastern Conference semifinals 3 years in a row, and 3 years in a row they lost to the Bulls. Now, the only thing that makes me happy is that today those 3 years are considered three of the best years the Bulls ever had.
Oh yeah.
But it was so aggravating where the Heat would have a pretty good season. Tim Hardaway, Alonzo Mourning,
Chris Bosh.
Pat Riley as coach. Chris, I think you said Chris Brown or no, Chris Bosh.
Chris Bosh.
Chris Bosh. Like they
It
had these
was
amazing players,
later in life they had the big three.
fantastic players.
Hmm.
And every year they would get to the Bulls and they would always win 1 or 2 games and then they lose the rest of them. And it was
Yeah.
so aggravating.
Yeah.
So there was a
I
period
know
of
that.
time there was a
I
period
know
of time
that.
where I just stopped. I was like, I can't do this
Yeah.
anymore. I was like, I can't do this.
No, I totally get that. As a Celtics fan, I have a very similar take about the '90s of like what we could have been. Uh, rest their souls. Len Bias, Reggie Lewis, both both Celtics who passed at the time, where they would have been, they would have been great for the team, and who knows what
Yeah.
the '90s Celtics would have looked like had they stuck around. So it's
Well,
like,
it's like people say all the time. The Utah Jazz, the Utah Jazz team that lost to the Bulls 2 or 3 years in a row.
mm,
If Jordan wasn't around, that Utah Jazz team would have easily
oh yeah,
won 2 to 3 championships
there's a
because
lot of people that missed out on the
between
championship because of
Malone,
Jordan.
yeah, between Malone,
you know,
Stockton, right, and some other
hmm
players. I
Carl
mean, Malone and
Malone.
Stockton were the two big ones,
Yeah,
but between Malone and Stockton, I mean, those two players together, they made magic. But it's just between Jordan and Pippen, and people don't like to admit it, but Rodman was a huge thing. And then who's the other one that became a coach recently that I can't think of his name right now?
Steve Kerr maybe.
Yeah, Steve Kerr,
Yeah,
right? And just that Bulls team was just, it was just a phenomenal team. But there were other teams where I mean they could have done great things, but there was just this team that was just unstoppable.
yeah, yeah. They're dominant. They're to be that dominant for that long.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, people say that besides the Larry Bird team of and I mean I'm sure there's other players, but the name that everybody thinks of the most is Larry Bird. But then besides the Larry Bird Celtics, I mean, there hasn't really been there wasn't a team till then that was that dominant,
right.
right? I mean, since then,
Yeah.
we've had the
Um,
Lakers, and we had Miami Heat for a little bit, and we had the Cavalier. Oh, no, we had the Stephen Curry or the Stephen Curry Laker, or excuse me,
Warriors.
Golden State Warriors. So we've had a couple of teams
Hmm.
since then that have won 2 to 3 years in a row. But till that time, that wasn't a usual thing. It was always onesies and twosies.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and that goes to show that and a lot of people argue against this. I think that evolution, as things change and as things change and improve, you kind of just have to go with the trend.
hmm
This goes for content creation too. But the way that the game's changed, you start seeing people see some success because they're moving towards what has already worked in the past. So
yes, yes.
and that's where a lot of people get shaky, and it's like all people do these days is shoot 3 pointers, and I'm like,
Well,
well, if you're
it
shooting
comes.
45%,
Yeah.
like
Well, it
getting
comes
worse.
back. It comes back to something. It comes back to something that comes back to a very interesting topic.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of sports they've lost creativity, right? They
Yep.
found out what has worked, and they've just done what's worked over and over and over and over and over, and it's
Right.
lost creativity. If you know anything about soccer, one of the reasons Brazil was so dominant in the 90s because Brazil was a very creative team, right? Excuse me, in the late 90s, or yeah, in the 90s and 2000s, Brazil was a very creative team. once the European teams were able to kind of break Brazil's creativity and do more fundamentals and figure out how to break this thing that Brazil was doing, Brazil hasn't been a great soccer team in a while.
Right.
And it's also because the Brazilian players now play more for money than for the sport, but it's also because people are going back to the fundamentals, to the basics, and they're doing all these things, and it's breaking the creativity, right? I think one of
Right.
the reasons that Curry is so popular is because people were not shooting 40 or 50 foot shots. That's something that hasn't been done in quite a while.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, I do agree with the point of it. It affects creativity, especially when we're talking about young people coming up and
Yep.
wanting to be like that. That's why I always encourage. Like, I'm somebody who's very operational. Clearly, I talk about like how I structure my content and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and I always encourage people to do what works, but at the same time, leave 1% of the time for creativity, for trying something new, because you don't know if something outside of what you're doing is also going to work unless you try it. So there's that aspect. So it's an interesting conversation. It's like, yes, do what works, but at the same time, uh, leave room for trying new things.
Yeah,
Is the best way to put it.
exactly. You have to leave room for some creativity, but also what I found out is that well, not what I found out, what I've read is that when it also comes to recruiting, right? When it comes
Mm,
to recruiting and bringing people into the sports, it's more stat based and more can they do this, can they do that, versus how do they play the game, what do they do different, do they bring an element of surprise?
right. It's
Um,
very analytical now.
exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. It's very analytical because, I mean, not to completely change the subject, but it all goes back to money, right? There was a
Right.
point where, there have been athletes who have retired and have had to go out and get a job because they weren't making that much and they were doing this for the sport instead of for the money. Now, some of these athletes, if they play their cards right, they never have to work a day again in their life.
Right. Yeah.
So it becomes more about money, and then also the teams. Right now, these teams are worth billions and billions of dollars. Um, so of course you know who Mark Cuban is. I mean, most of us do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Um, did you hear? I heard an interview. I actually didn't even know he sold the Mavericks. Did you hear him talk about why he sold the Mavericks or the main reason why he sold the Mavericks?
I believe I did, but I don't know that I can recall it. I
So
think I know what video you're talking about though.
one of the main reasons he said, I think it was on one of those comedian podcasts or something,
Hmm.
and he had said that a lot of these teams nowadays they're making their stadiums and they're building entire developments around their stadium. So it's no longer just about the sport and about the team. It's
Entertainment.
about it's about the money around the area, right? It's about
Yep.
putting a bar in the stadium. It's about some of these places have a casino or they're getting gambling rights. They're putting,
Right.
casinos in the stadium. They're doing bets. They're building the entire area around the stadium to all bring in money and funnel money into the team and into the stadium, right? And some of these owners, some of them don't even care. I mean, yeah, they want to win, and it's great if they do win. But if they don't win the championship, but they made $300 million that season, no, they're not really upset because they made $300 million that season
Right.
because of
And
everything around the area.
that's what it goes to show where people's minds are at. I was watching a video. It was about a um I forgot who was talking. Somebody was talking about how the competitive nature gets lost in.
Yes.
It was a very similar topic. It was the competitive nature gets lost in the just search for new ways of making money, like you were talking about. So, a prime example that I can come up with that speaks to that is the WNBA team, the Connecticut Sun. They
Hmm.
play at they play at Mohegan. which is a casino. Like that's where their venue is. Like they,
Really?
yeah. So it like it's all encompassing now, and that's
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what I was talking about, right? Because it's
yeah.
not about the sport, it's about everything around it, and it's about, it's about the whole atmosphere, and I mean, in some ways it is good, right? Because they're bringing in more things, so it's becoming more of a family thing again, and blah 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 blah. But it's also prices are going up and all this other stuff,
Hmm.
because it's more about the business than it is about the sport.
Right.
It's more
And
about the business.
for business people, that's a great that's a great thing. But again, it goes to show like people do things for different reasons.
Exactly.
So, and if you are somebody who likes to just watch the sport or just play the sport, then just do that, and don't
Hmm.
let the business side of things drive you. If you're somebody that's more business minded and analytical, stay on that side. And it's like, yeah, and it's like, um, you could definitely see how athletics as a whole has completely changed in social
Oh,
media era,
oh yeah.
and yeah.
Uh, Before we started talking, I was actually just watching a video. I don't know, I don't know if I can talk about this, but I was watching a video how Olympians, specifically American and European Olympians, have had to resort to other forms of making money, some explicit forms of making money,
Oh
because they
wow.
get paid so little, right? Or they're an Olympian, they go to the Olympics, they're seen, people like what they see, and then they go into these other things to make money, because their drive is the money, not the sport. And then you have
Right.
some countries, which I couldn't believe this. It was like, was it Indonesia? I can't remember what the top three countries were, but there are countries that pay you like $300,000 if you get a gold medal. Now, these aren't like, it's not like France and Germany who have dozens of Olympic medals every game,
Hmm.
but it's countries who don't win that many, so that's probably why they're paying that much money out. But again, people are giving money for getting medals, and some of these people, they just want to represent their country. You
Right.
know, Curry was saying that he's blessed to win and a gold medal for the USA in basketball. I don't think they've ever not won. I think they've only not won a gold medal three times in basketball. But
Right.
but still, like, he's doing it for the sport, right? and and
Hmm.
and I mean, I think that's a great example. The Olympics have become all about money. It's no longer about the
Yeah.
sport. Whether it's the Olympian who goes into other things to make money, or it's the Olympics themselves whose costs have gone up more and more and more every Olympics. It's all
Hmm.
about the money. And this was supposed to be, the Olympics was designed as a way for each country to show what they're best in, and and competition, and healthy competition, and
Right.
countries who have hated each other for hundreds of years can still go to this one place, compete, and be friendly with each other, right? And all these things, and it's all about money now.
Yeah.
It's all,
And
and the medals are worth less because they use less gold. The medals are
yeah.
worth less. The Olympians are barely paid, and so it's like, it's become about making money for the powers to be, and everybody else is just there.
Yeah. And you see this in more industries than one. Is as you see some level of success, you want to monopolize and step into something step into something new. So now that you've dominated the sports industry, how can we incorporate other industries into that and connect the dots everywhere? Like I said, with the casino, and like we've mentioned before, with the casinos, and with all the other new aspects of athletics. It's like it's all about, to them, how do we merge how do we how
Yes,
and
yes,
me as a small creator, my thing has always been do what you're good at. Like, focus on what you're good at, and dominate that industry and let other people be and do what they're good at.
Hmm.
And that's gonna, like, it's a very different philosophy from what
Yeah.
is
It,
going on.
and you make such a great point about what you said, and
Mhm.
to go back to another topic we talked about earlier, movies, right?
Yeah,
Movies.
same. Yeah,
Um, it's the same IPs. I mean, it's not the same IPs, but the movies nowadays, you see a lot of the same IPs over and over and over because
right.
they're like, oh, well, this made money, so we'll do it again, and then 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 we'll do it again, right? Or it's movies that you can tell some of these Marvel movies, they just poured millions or hundreds of millions of dollars into the movie thinking it's going to be successful, and because they just poured hundreds of millions of dollars, right? You
Yeah,
know, it's Star Wars. I'm not big into Star Wars, but I've heard Star Wars is a very similar thing, where
yep.
it's lost the uniqueness and the
It's all money grab.
originality. Exactly, it's all a
Yeah,
money grab. It's
and
all a money grab.
I do appreciate some projects that they do still, because you can still see that there's an effort to make something authentic or make something new, but you can
Hmm.
tell which project, you can for sure tell
Oh,
which projects
absolutely,
are just there because they got a good response the first time around. Like,
absolutely. I was just talking to a friend of mine who excuse me. I was talking to a friend of mine about the Super Mario movie. How
mhm.
the first one broke 1 billion.
Wow.
The second one will probably break 1 billion because if I remember correctly, my son went to watch it and I looked it up. I think it made like 300 million in the first week. So it's probably going to break 1 billion. But if they keep on making these Super Mario movies, it's going to become saturated and it's going to become a money grab.
Yeah.
Or they're going to start branching off, and they already talked about making a Donkey Kong movie, and what's next? And then are they going to make a Yoshi movie, and they're going to
Yoshi
make
and just keep
exactly,
going.
exactly,
Right.
and keep going and keep going and keep going, and it's great. I mean, if done correctly, these movies can be great, but you can tell Marvel. There was a time where Marvel was great and it was original and it was creative. Now between all the shows they have and all these movies that they're making of people that sometimes you don't even want to see and how they're trying to connect everything together, it's just a
Mhm.
money grab to try to bring everything together into one giant movie and then make money off of that one giant movie.
Right. So I feel like the message that I'd like to bring is, yes, your analytics matter, but your analytics matter for what you do, and and stick to that, like stick to that thing that you've mastered, and
Hmm.
respond to that, and continue to put that type of content or that type of whatever you put out was,
Hmm.
but reaching for more to a certain degree just becomes selfish.
Well, it and what I like to say, it's about heart, right?
Mhm.
What I'm starting to tell myself is that if my content has heart, I'm okay with
I
it.
like that. I like that.
If my content has heart, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
If I enjoy the game I'm playing, that's what I'm gonna stream the game I'm playing, even if I suck at the game, even if nobody ever watches me, even if I enjoy the game, I'm gonna continue playing this game and I'm gonna stream this game. If I enjoy podcasting, I'm gonna continue podcasting.
Right.
I think one of the reasons why I stopped doing well, there's two reasons I stopped doing YouTube. One, I started getting fat because I was making food videos and I was just going out to eat every week. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
there's a reason why you don't see a lot of skinny food creators,
Oh
because
yeah.
going out to eat every single week and sometimes multiple times a week, like it's not easy.
Taxes you.
Oh
And
yeah, it's not easy. I mean, the cost doesn't even bother me. It's not the cost
no,
of
I
it.
meant from a
Oh
from a
yeah,
physical
yeah, but from
standpoint.
a
Sorry.
physical
Yeah.
point of view, oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So, but I also noticed that some of my videos didn't have heart, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I enjoy, and I'm going to have fun with it, and just go from there. And
Absolutely. And what you'll
um,
find is that people, you're going to attract some people.
yes.
It might not be as many as you wanted, or like you might have not gone viral, but you're gonna find somebody that's interested in what you do and what you
Hmm.
do well. Like,
Well, I don't know if it's Chinese or what are they now? Iranian. I don't know if they're Iranian hackers, but on my Instagram, I have a couple of videos of when I was deployed.
Mm.
and I'll notice every couple of weeks I'll get one or two new followers. And it's because
Wow.
I tag all my videos like either deployment or army. And I'll
Yeah, you keep the
notice
same consistent hashtag. Yep.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
notice every couple of weeks I'll get one or two. No, but I haven't posted. What I mean is I haven't posted in like months. And
Right.
even though I haven't posted in months, I'm still getting some new followers because it was clips
They'll find
of
it.
yeah, it was clips
Mm-hmm.
of when I was of what I was eating while I was deployed and some other stuff that happened while I was deployed.
Right.
I actually posted a clip. I mean, it's already out there. I posted a clip of me seeing a intercepting missile being
Wow.
launched while I was deployed. Yeah, so the place I was at, it was actually recently hit by the Iranians. But when Lebanon and Israel were firing at each other, we would launch a lot of intercepting missiles just in case anything came close by. What we launched would intercept and stop them and stopped it. So
Wow.
this is a topic I can talk about this. Fuck it, YOLO.
Go for it.
So
I'm all ears.
the most dangerous. I shouldn't say the most dangerous. How can I say this? Um, vulnerable. The most vulnerable thing that the U.S. military is, or the thing that the U.S. military is most vulnerable to right now. That's what I'm trying to say. Is drones. The drones industry has evolved so fast and so diverse that it's very difficult to fight against drones. Because the thing about drones is that the radar system, and what I mean by evolved, in that the main thing is that the radar system. So the drone industry has evolved faster than the radar system, and the other and some other systems have evolved, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's happened is radars are used at a higher altitude, right? Because if you had a radar that intercepted everything at a low altitude, it would intercept birds, it would intercept, toy planes and all these other things, right? Heck, it could even intercept like a rock or a football or something if you kick it too high.
Right.
So the radars are for high altitudes, right?
Okay.
Well, what happens with drones is drones are able to fly in low enough to where the radar doesn't see them, but high enough to where you can't directly see them.
Wow.
So, because of that, and they're fast, some of these drones are fast, 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 fast. So, you can't just BB gun or shoot a drone down. It's not like a bird. Like birds aren't
Right.
that fast, right? A bird's main speed is when it dives, or if it dives and then it comes back up,
Right.
right? Well, a drone doesn't dive down. A drone can just go straight. So
Right.
drones are fast. So it's really hard to stop and intercept the drones. So until they're able to make a radar system and mass produce a radar system, like I'm sure the White House and stuff have this, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure until they're able to mass produce a radar system that can differentiate between a drone, a bird, or anything else, the U.S. military is very vulnerable. Heck, did you see that they attacked that super fancy hotel in Dubai?
I did. Yeah. I did see that.
I
I've
mean,
been
I mean,
reading
yeah,
articles here and
some of
there,
these
but
people are fucking nuts.
mm-hmm.
But so it's because you can't tell. It's because
Mm-hmm.
you can't really tell, and they're coming in. And the other thing is kind of going back to the money issue is some of these drone companies, they don't know who's buying the drone, right? This isn't like a gun or something where you have to register to buy a drone, and that'll never happen, of course.
Mm.
So you don't know if the person buying the drone is a camper, a terrorist, a kid, like you don't know what they are, right? And I say camper because drones are also very much used in the outdoor world, whether it's for scouting animals, scouting camping sites, and drones also do have good purposes. I mean, they use drones to rescue people, to look ahead. So they use it for a lot of things. But some of these, you can easily take a drone, attach something to it, whether it's on the top or the bottom, and just fly the drone straight into a building, or fly the drone, take it up, and then dive it down and crash it into something, and then it explodes.
Wow.
So it's a very hard thing. I don't think the future of warfighting is drones, but I think drones are an evolution of missiles. Because you can take a drone, you can make a drone be a missile,
Right.
right? And if you don't need the drone, you can fly these drones dozens of dozens of miles away. Like, you can fly the drone far away, and if you don't want the drone back, you can set a course, set it to attack or crash into something, and that's it. You don't want the drone back, right? So it can be like a kamikaze in a way.
Wow.
So yeah, that's why if you go to a lot of government sites, you'll see no drone flying whatsoever,
Hmm.
because if they hear, we are told, the problem is the military also uses drones, so sometimes you got to be careful on which drone. But we have recently been told that if you see a drone anywhere near a military site, whether you think it's friendly or not, call it in or shoot it down,
Right.
because it's better to risk the possibility of it being a friendly drone and losing a friendly drone versus risk being a non-friendly drone and not knowing what's going to happen from there.
Right. It's
These
all
drones
about.
can also be flybys. They could also be flyby. Like, you remember hearing how in World War II they used to have a lot of spy planes and they used to take pictures of things.
Think so. Yeah.
Yeah, drones can do that too. I mean, if
Oh,
they
I'm
could
sure. Yeah.
fly, yeah, they can fly in 50, 60 miles an hour, take a picture of a bunch of stuff, gather information, fly out, and then they could have another drone come in a little bit slower, but then they could have another drone come in, and that drone can drop a grenade or be a kamikaze or be something else.
Wow.
So with everything that's been happening lately, we've been told if you see a drone on a government site, call it in, and if you can, bring it down. Whether it's a
Yep.
friendly or not, just don't worry about that part. Just bring it down, and we'll deal with the rest later.
And that makes sense. It's a large safety concern. So.
Exactly. I mean, it's like seeing somebody with a gun, right? If you see somebody with a gun, especially with everything that's been happening, if you see somebody with a gun, you're not gonna be like, "Oh, that's fine. He's probably
Right.
safe." No, if you see somebody with a gun, you call it in or you try to do something about it.
Respond to it. Yeah.
You respond to it, because you
Yeah.
don't you don't know what's gonna happen, or you don't know who this person could be.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, it's been over an hour, so let me ask you something. Is there
Hmm.
anything you want to talk about, or is there any topics that,
Yeah.
that we didn't touch, that you
Uh,
wanna mention or talk about?
Very quickly, I was just gonna leave where people might be able to find me as well, and I'll allow you to plug your stuff as well. But I'm at Sim Ramey on all social media platforms. I do a lot of marketing based content, as I've mentioned. A lot of what I do, right? There's skits involved in what I do. There's an element of uh, comedic. There's comedic element to it in a sense, but I also like to take on a serious tone, and as well as do that comedic side. I go on live streams very frequently, or podcasts, just to try to get my some long form content out there as well, and just spread value. So again, I'm at Sim Ramey, and I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me on.
Well, you know what? You were the first one, man. So, it was great talking to you. I definitely want to do this again. We can definitely plan some
Absolutely.
stuff, plan some
Yep.
topics out, do an update, see what's going on. Um,
That'd be great.
But yeah, I appreciate you taking the opportunity and the you giving me the opportunity and giving me the chance of doing this.
Yeah, thank you for your time, man.
Absolutely. All right, man. Let's. All right. Hey, can you stop recording?